So I hope it is audible and visible to all. So do it fast. Is it audible and visible to all?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So now we will start with the next topic of module 5. Okay. So in the previous class we have discussed about so thermal oxidation. So in this we have discussed how the silicon or the quartz crystal has been oxidized, and using oxidation process we have obtained silicon dioxide layer. Okay. So this is what we have discussed, and how Tabasam, mute your mic, Tabasam. So now in the previous class, so I have discussed this vertical furnace, okay, to perform thermal oxidation. Now in this we have placed a silicon wafer, and we have sent a gas or the water to make oxidation process. So once this is done, it forms silicon dioxide layers. Okay, so this is what we have discussed, and what are the materials which are used in this process that we have discussed. So now in today's class we are going to discuss about diffusion. So I hope many of you guys already know about diffusion. So diffusion is nothing but, okay, so adding the charge carriers from higher concentration area to the lower concentration area. I hope you guys remember this. For example, so if I take one PN junction like this, okay, so if I take like one PN junction, so this is P type and this is N type. So then in P type the majority charge carriers are holes, and in the N type the majority charge carriers are electrons. So when they are chemically combined like this, okay, using any fabrication technique, so here in P type the majority charge carriers are holes, so they will start moving towards the N type, and in N type the majority charge carriers are electrons and they move towards the P type. So we call this process as diffusion. So in other words, it is defined as the movement of charge carriers from higher concentration area towards the lower concentration area. So after diffusion, so it will achieve the uniform concentration between P and N type material. So this is what we call it as diffusion. So now using the same technique, now we are going to discuss how the diffusion is used in fabrication, okay, and how it will be related with thermal oxidation. So what I am going to do, first thing, so I will consider one silicon substrate which is shown here. So this is which I shown, this is only for the explanation. So this is the actual notes, this it is written, so just for understanding how we are going to do the diffusion. So now, so here, so I have taken one silicon substrate which is shown here. So this silicon substrate may be a P type or N type, okay. So if I take it as P type, then the majority charge carriers are holes now. So now for this we have to diffuse the N type material, okay. So to do that, so what it does, so it takes the process called oxidation. So here it is shown in the second step here. So in this step, the surface of silicon substrate is exposed to the oxidation. So when it is exposed to the oxidation, it forms a silicon dioxide layer. So this layer acts as an insulator. So now what I want diffuse the dopants, we call it as N-type or P-type. If I take it as silicon as P-type, then the dopants which I am going to diffuse are N-type. So to dope here, so I have to take one photoresistive material which we already discussed. So photoresistive material is very sensitive to the light. So when this photoresistive material is exposed to the light, okay, so then here the area which is exposed to the light will be get softened, right? So if it is softened, so then the particular area will be removed. We call it as etching, okay. For example, if this area is exposed, that is PR, that is nothing but photoresistive material, this part will be etched away, complete this part will be etched away, and then we can dope the N-type material here. Okay, so this is the process which happens in diffusion. So what I have taken? So I have taken one silicon substrate, then I have taken, it is exposed to the thermal oxidation. Once it is exposed to the thermal oxidation, it forms a silicon dioxide layer. Once it forms the silicon dioxide layer, so then the photoresistive material is used. So that photoresistive material is exposed to the light. The area which is exposed to the light will be get softened, and that area is etched away, nothing but it has been removed, and in that part we have to diffuse N plus type dopant. Okay, so this is the concept here for the diffusion, and this process will be carried out around 1000 degrees Celsius. Okay, so now the same thing will be explained in the notes now. So now listen to the notes. So here what I have taken, this is a P-type material which is of silicon. So if I say it is a P-type, then the majority charge carriers are holes here. So now we have to diffuse the N-type material. So here it is shown, this is a N plus dopant. The dopants may be boron, phosphorus or arsenic. So here we have used arsenic, which has heavily doped, plus indicates it is heavily doped N-type material. So that that N-type material is doped into the P-type material by performing thermal oxidation and photolithography. So photolithography is nothing but it includes photoresistive material and exposing to the light. We call it as photolithography. So here, by doing that thermal oxidation and photolithography, now we have diffused the dopants into N plus region. So this is what we call it as diffusion. So this is done after the thermal oxidation. Okay. So now what happens once we done the diffusion? So here, once we have diffused a N-type material in the P-type, as I said, so it forms a PN junction. So this is the junction now between P and N-type, and in this N, the majority charge carriers are electrons, and in the P, the majority charge carriers are holes. Now they will start diffusing from higher concentration area towards the lower concentration area. That is nothing but here it will move the electrons, and here it will move the holes. So like this, a complete diffusion takes place once the dopants like arsenic has been diffused into the P-type material. Okay. So now, so this is about the explanation of the figure A. We call it as diffusion process. When I come to this figure B, so in figure B, here we have shown one impurity concentration. So this is the junction which is shown here. So this is the junction, okay, we call it as PN junction. This is P type and this is N type. Now how we have to form PN junction or a P type material or N type material? How it is formed? Using impurity concentration. Okay, so we will discuss like this. So let us take one material, okay, we call it as one material. So if in this material, okay, if the concentration of acceptor is greater than the concentration of donor, okay, here the acceptors are nothing but boron, the donors are nothing but arsenic or phosphorus, okay. So if, for example, this is a kind of material now, in this material, if the N represents here concentration, so if the concentration of boron, okay, that is acceptor, is much greater than the concentration of donor, that is either arsenic or phosphorus, or in other words we can say that if the concentration of holes is greater than the concentration of electrons, then this material is called as P-type material, and the impurity added here is acceptor impurity, which is nothing but we can call it as boron. Similarly, if I take the same material, okay, if I take the same material, in that if the concentration of donor is greater than the concentration of acceptor, for example, if the donor is arsenic, is greater than boron, that is negative is greater than positive, electrons are greater than holes, then we can say that the material which is formed is N-type material. So based on this we can say that here in the impurity concentration to form PN junction, if I want to form P-type material, then the concentration of acceptor should be greater than the concentration of donor. If I want to form N-type material, then the concentration of donor should be greater than the concentration of acceptor. And here also a diffusion takes place to achieve uniform concentration, but the material will be treated as P-type or N-type material. Okay, so this is the intention of this second figure B. Okay, so now we will move on to the third figure. We call it as log scale with respect to impurity. So in this log scale we have shown that, so which area is used for acceptor and which area is used for donor, okay, which is shown here. This is x-axis and this is y-axis. This is the measurement of concentration in terms of centimeter per cube. Okay, so I hope you guys studied about conduction band and the valency band. Okay, so as we know that, so this is conduction band and this is the valency band. So here I call it as conduction band and this is valency band and this is forbidden energy gap. I hope you guys remember, we already discussed this. So here in the conduction band, majority charge carriers are electrons. In the valency band, the majority are holes here. Okay, in some term it is mixed of holes and electrons. So here always the acceptor, here the acceptor which is shown, it is always shown in the conduction band. The donor is always shown in the valency band. So because of this, in this graph or in the log scale with respect to impurity, the concentration of acceptor is shown above the concentration of donor. It is just a representation where the acceptor presents and where the donor presents. So this is about the log scale. Okay. So now, so this is about how the diffusion takes place, how the N-type and P-type material is formed, based on adding the impurity, and this is how the log scale is used to represent where the acceptor is present and where the donor is present. Okay, so here the diffusion process takes place around 800 to 1000 degrees Celsius. Okay, but in some furnaces we can use up to 1100 degree Celsius. Okay, so this is the temperature which is used to perform diffusion. Okay, so again I will repeat, diffusion is nothing but moving the charge carriers from higher concentration area towards the lower concentration area. Okay, then it will achieve the uniform concentration. Okay, now the same thing is explained in the theory part here, which is shown. This is the same thing, but here we can also represent this diffusion process in terms of equation. So no derivations, only I am going to represent this in terms of equation. First thing, the diffusivity of dopants in solid. Okay, the diffusivity of dopants in solid. The dopants, like we are chosen there arsenic, or you can choose phosphorus or any other dopants. There the diffusivity is given by, means the dopants, the solid term which is diffused in the p type is given by D equals to D naught into e raised to minus Ea by kT, where D naught is nothing but the constant proportional depend on the material dopant, means D naught depends on the material which you have chosen here, either arsenic or phosphorus. So this exponential term e raised to Ea represents activated energy during diffusion, means once you diffuse the dopants so into the p-type material, so then it generates one energy. That energy is nothing but Ea here. K is the Boltzmann constant and T is the temperature where it is operating in terms of degree Kelvin. So this is about the diffusivity of dopants in solid. Okay, just an equation to represent the theory part in terms of equation. Similarly, so here the diffusion depends on two equations. One is this, D equals to D naught into e raised to minus Ea by kT, and another one is the distance of diffusion, so which is given by small d equals to square root of d into t, where d is again the diffusivity of the material, t is nothing but the processing time here. So how much time is taken to diffuse a particular dopant into the p-type material or the n-type material. So this is about two equations which are used in diffusion process. We have to write these two properly. One is d equals to d naught into e raised to minus Ea by kT, and the other one is d equals to small d equals to square root of d into t. No derivation, only equations, just to represent the theory part in terms of equation. Okay, so now as I said, what is in this, the product, it is also known as thermal budget. Okay, remember this, the temperature within the several degree in order to control the diffusion process. Okay, so this is the thermal budget is nothing but it is a distance where we have to control the temperature which is around 1000 degrees Celsius. So based on the distance we have to diffuse the dopant. So that is the meaning here. And at the last, so when the concentration of acceptor is greater than the concentration of donor, then it forms the p-type semiconductor material. This is another point which is shown here for this one, for this impurity concentration, as I said earlier. So now, so in general we can say that now, so diffusion is nothing but moving the charge carriers from higher concentration area towards the lower concentration area to form p-type and n-type material, This process is always carried out after thermal oxidation process. That you have to remember. Okay. So this is about the diffusion. It's a very simple topic. Hope it is clear for everyone. If yes, so just put a message in the chat box. So do it first. Otherwise, if you have any doubts, just ask right now. So do it first. I am expecting everyone to respond in the chat box. Do it fast. If you have any doubts in particular, so ask me, I will clarify it again. Okay, fine. Hope it is clear for everyone. So now send your attendance in the chat box so that we can wind up the class. Do it first. Send your attendance, all 34 students. Hope everyone sent the attendance. Okay. Okay. So now we will wind up the class. So thank you for attending the class.